Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 26. Before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start the episode off with Dani and Andre, and they're talking about the job offer from Tatum, and they're being all flirty because he was trying to make her breakfast, but she came down sooner than he was expecting. So they're talking about the job offer and if what like she's asking him what he thinks of it or all this other stuff. And he's just like, I think it's a good opportunity. You should do it, X, Y, and Z, because, he's the reason, not that he's the reason, but low key, he is the reason why Tatum um, was just like, okay, let's try to make this work or whatever. So they're about to get frisky, and Pamela shows up and she's just like, Tatum is in the DMV area and she wants to meet with you. And Danny's just like, I'm not ready. Like, are you serious? Like, what's going on? Like, she's not ready, but what's it called? Not Danny, but Pamela's just like, yeah, she ready. She ready to see you, so you need to get ready. So we see Bill. He and Caroline are at the country club because they're gonna have a meeting about the deliverables or something like that. And they see Chelsea and Madison and they look happy or whatever. So, or Bill is happy that they're looking like that they're happy or whatever. So they walk up to them, and that's when Chelsea tells him that they're engaged, and he's just like, okay. So Caroline is fawning over the ring, and Madison is like, Madison and Chelsea, they're talking about what happened and how the proposal happened or whatever. And Bill is just sitting there like, okay. So not Chelsea, sorry. Madison gets a phone call from the hospital, so she has to go and do something. And Bill gives Caroline this look like, girl, go. I got to talk to my daughter. So Caroline leaves, and so Bill can talk with Chelsea. So once, they're all gone, Bill is basically telling Chelsea, like, are you sure this is what you like? Are you sure this is what it was? I thought y'all were just about to break up. Like, are you moving to Denmark? And she's just like, no, we're going to do this long distance thing. And he's basically telling her, like, this is your first committed relationship. And this is your first committed relationship or whatever. And sorry. Oh yeah. He asked her if she's moving to Denmark. She tells him no. And he's just like, good, that'll give you time to think. And she was just like, oh, you think this is a phase? And he's just like, no, I know you guys love each other, but you've gone through one crisis after another. And I'm partially to blame with that as well. And Chelsea was just like, and we've gone like, yes, I've gone through one crisis after another, but me and Madison we've only gotten stronger. We've only gotten stronger for it. And he's just like, well, this is your first serious relationship. And when decisions made in the heat of the moment, once everything settles, it'll look different. And she's just like, well, that's not her, that's you, but that ain't me. Like, okay, sir, because you made a heat of the moment decision by well, I mean, I guess he's speaking from experience. So Madison and Caroline come back, and Chelsea thanks Caroline for all her support. She low-key makes a dig at Bill. And so Caroline and Bill go and sit down, and then Chelsea and Madison are talking, and Chelsea is asking her, has she told her mom? And she was just like, I just want to wait. Like, I want us to be in our before my mom comes in and starts, filling our heads with wedding plans or whatever. And so then she tells her about what Bill said, and Madison is just like, well, he's not wrong. And she was just like, wait, are you having second thoughts? And she was just like, no, I'm not having second thoughts, but I mean, your dad's not wrong. Like, we are moving fast, but that's us, and I'm okay with that. So Chelsea got Madison a massage appointment, and then they, like, she goes. And so when Chelsea is leaving, she like looks at Bill, and she like gives him a look of like, bye, whatever. So we see Bill. He's sorry. Yeah, this was them. So we see Bill, and he's talking to, he's at his table with Caroline, and he's talking about, how Chelsea is young, and they just met each other and all this other stuff. And Caroline was just like, well, how old were you when you met Danny? Like, sir. And he was just like, oh, and you thought Vernon just opened up he just opened up the wagons for me to just come in? Like, no. And I basically had to jump through hoops to be with Danny. And it was just like, and you deserved it, because look how you did her. But I digress. So he says, another Hamilton making a heat of the moment decision based on feelings. And she was just like, what other Hamilton? Naomi? And he was just like, no, Danny. Sir, she's not a Hamilton. And Caroline had to remind him, she is not a Hamilton. You are the other Hamilton making rash decisions based off of feelings, because you left your family based off of feelings. And now you low key second guessing it. So while you talking about Danny doing something off of feelings, sir, please look in the mirror. I need you to look in the mirror. So he sees Chelsea leaves, and he's just like, yeah, her mom's gonna deal with this. Like, I'm gonna have to talk to her mom. So he calls Dani, and Dani's at the house. Tatum has finally shown up, and she's talking with Pamela and Andre, because Dani's getting ready. And then, she's telling Andre, she's sorry that she brought it, like, she messed up by telling Pamela that they ran into each other, but she was just like, she promises she's not gonna say anything when Dani comes down. And it was just like, good, because we want to make sure that Dani is gonna do this and not think that she's getting this opportunity because of a favor from somebody. So she's just like, cool, mum's the word. So Dani comes down, and they greet each other. They're looking at pictures, and like Dani is complimenting her on her, on her designs and everything. So Tatum asked her, like, so are you ready to be my spokesperson? And Dani's just like, oh. And then we cut to a commercial break, and then we see them again, and they're at the counter, and they're still talking, going through, her and Tatum are still talking, going through her designs or whatever. And Andre and Pamela are talking to each other, and Dani's phone rings, and Andre sees that it's Bill, and he rejects the call. And I was just like, thank you. Thank you for that, Andre. Thank you. What else did we see in this episode? Okay, so we see Ashley. She's at work, and she came in to work on her day off because she's filling in for one of the other nurses, and she doesn't want to sit at home thinking about guys and all this other stuff. She don't want to sit at home thinking about Grayson and why he dipped. So she's telling Shanice this, and Shanice is just like, oh, you think he's shady, or you think something's going on with him? And she's just like, you've been talking to Derek? And she was just like, yeah, but I told him to chill and X, Y, and Z. So they start talking about it, and Shanice is basically telling her, girl, just ask him. If you really want to know something, just ask. And it's just like, girl, ask him for real, because y'all are supposed to be just vibing. Why are you acting like y'all in a relationship? So what if he left you because he had a booty call with somebody else? That is not your man. Chop that up and just get you a roster if that's what we're doing. Like, why are you just sticking with this one? Get you a roster if you're going to be tripping over the fact that he's going to leave in the middle of the night. Y'all aren't dating. Y'all are just fooling. You went on one coffee date and slept with him. Y'all are just vibing at this point. Y'all ain't in no relationship where he got to explain anything to you. Keep it as it is. You don't want a serious relationship? Get you a roster. Have somebody else on backup when he dips. Boom. Why you need him to explain something to you? Okay, I guess because girl, I would have been like, all right, you gone. Let me call up my next. Let me call up number two. What you thought this was, girl? Because she in that age or whatever. But girl, so Shanice is just, Shanice tells her about the situation that she had with Ted and the panties, and she talked to him about it and all this other stuff. So Grayson shows up and he tells her, she asked him, I want to know why you left. And he was just like, my mom has what she has? She has something. I forgot what she had, but she had something and she had fell, and he doesn't trust the home health, the health center that she's at, and he was about to go off and he didn't want her to see that part of him. So that's why he left, and she was just like, well, did you go off? And he was just like, no, I cooled down by the time I got there. I'm trying to find, these people, I keep telling them, like, my mom will say something or do something, and I keep telling them that she needs this, but they're not really listening. And I just, I want to find her a different place to go. That's why I'm working all these hours, and I can't put her on my insurance and X, Y, and Z and all this other stuff. And so that's what his thing is. And low key, it's all a lie. I'm pretty sure he's the impaler or he's working for the impaler, but I don't want him to be, just because I don't want Derek to be right. I know that's terrible, but I don't want Derek to be right because, sir, ill. So we see Derek. He's meeting Jan at Orphe Jeans, and he's like, he's thinking that she's calling him, like he wants to meet her to talk about what happened with him and Ashley the night before. And she was just like, no, I don't know nothing about that. I was just, I'm calling you because they're opening up a free clinic, and what's her name? Vanessa is part of it, and then the other woman who's funding it, she could use some help. Da, 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 da. And so Derek is just like, okay, that's what's up. I could get some contacts, I could get some people that could help, and X, Y, and Z. And as he's saying this, Leslie is walking in, and she calling him Thor and all this, just being extra. And he's just like, girl, why is she here? And then Jan is just like, she says something about the clinic, and Leslie says something, and he was just like, wait, she's the other woman? And Leslie's just like, I don't like being called the other woman. Then stop being the other woman, because you are literally the other woman with Marcel. If you don't like being called that, stop being that. But I digress. So they're going back and forth. He's saying he can't work with her because what if Jacob comes in and she's over there spiking somebody's IV bag because she looked at him funny. I was just like, I love this is when I like Derek, when he got his foot firmly planted on Leslie's neck. This is when I like him. So Jan is trying to, take up for him, and take up for Leslie and sell him on it. Leslie leaves. She's still talking to Derek, and he's just like, yeah, I can't work for her. I can't. There's no way that I can do it. And she's just like, this is going to be a good cause. It's being dedicated to Doug and X, Y, and Z, and she's helping people and da 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 da. And Derek is just like, child, no. And I was with him because, child, no. He don't need to, but it is what it is. So we see Ashley. She runs into her mom at Orphe Jeans, and her mom is telling her that she got she helped Leslie find a person to work for the clinic, and she's just like, Derek, and Ashley is just like, please, Derek is not going to trust her, and you shouldn't either. And she's just like, her money is helping people. And Ashley's just like, and herself. And she was just like, I don't think she's changed. And Jan is just like, she has changed and just you wait and see, and da 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 da. And as she's saying this, the very next scene, we see her bothering Shanice behind Ted. And it's just like that lady still has not changed. And Jan, you are just happy that that girl got money so she can spoil you. You are low key kind of like her. Money is just what's it for y'all. So Leslie's at the hospital bothering Shanice about Ted and the trick that she played, which wasn't a trick. You just trifling and nasty. Um, girl. So she's they're going back and forth with each other and all this other stuff. And Leslie said something and she was just like, maybe I should call Ted or pay him a house visit. And I was like, if I was Shanice, I would have said, call him. Matter of fact, let me call him. Let's see what he's up. Let's see what he's doing right now. Let's see whose call he's going to answer. You want to do it? 1, 2, 3? Yeah, let's do that. Let's see. Cause you are really delusional, Leslie. So Shanice tells her, she is just like she's good with or without Ted because she has something that money can't buy, and that's pride. And it's just like, yeah, because Leslie is pathetic. She doesn't have that. And so Leslie says, I got money. She got to have the last word, of course. And she was just like, I got cash in the bank and a man by my side. And I was just like, what man by your side do you have? It's not Ted and it's not Malone. So what man is by your side, Leslie? Hmm. Yeah. Okay, girl. So we get back to Ashley and her mom. They're at Orphe Jeans again. I mean, they're still at Orphe Jeans, and Ashley's basically telling her mama she like Grayson, and she talks about his what's going on. Like his mom is sick and he's taking care of her and all this other stuff. And she's just like, I think you would like him too. And so her mom is happy for her. And I was just like, I guess, child, I guess. So we see what else do we see? Oh, so we see Hayley. She done met up with Lynette. She done brought the papers over because she got Bill to agree to take Lynette's case pro bono. So Lynette's happy about it. They start to reminisce about the good old days and how they used to be with each other. And Hayley, it's like low key, it kind of flipped, not even flipped, but it's just like the hate that Hayley has for Dani is the hate that um Leslie used to have for Nicole. I think now she has it for Shanice, but it used to be for Nicole. And it's just like you two are the ones who did them wrong. So the hate that y'all have for them is just so why? Because like Hayley, you you conned your way into that family and you stole that woman's man. So whatever smoke she has for you is warranted. If she wants to come in and steal him back from you, you can't say a mother thing because you did that to her. Granted, Dani is trifling for doing it because I can't say that Hayley's trifling and not say that Dani isn't as trifling as well if she were to do that. But if that were to happen, what goes around comes around. So the fact that you are mad that they are staying in each other's face, ma'am, what did you think was going to happen when you took him away from her? You thought they were just going to cut ties with each other? They have kids together. Yeah, their kids are grown, but clearly that man is not trying to leave. He's not trying to stay from up under her because he's the one who's going to her too. While you keep getting mad at Dani, your husband keeps showing up to her as well. So they talk about Dani and how Bill is low key, like slowly making his way back to Dani. And so Lynette is just like, did you did you try, have you tried making him jealous? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Da 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 da. Just like trying to come up with different schemes for her to try to get Bill back, like, back in the fold. And she's just like, yeah, I've tried everything. And she was just like, okay, well then if you tried everything, then it's time to go back to a tried and true um con or whatever. And so they talk about when they were younger, how they had went to a concert, and Lynette knew because she missed curfew that her mama was gonna whoop her tail. So they decided to they decided to fake something happened to them. And so when Lynette came home with the busted lip, her mama left her alone and wasn't worried about the con. And I was just like, Marquita's so cute. Marquita Gomes is so cute because she was just like, I may be little, but I pack a punch. I said, I know that's right. So Hayley laughed about it, and then uh Lynette was Lynette was looking at her like, girl, I'm so serious. And Hayley was just like, wait, what? You serious? Oh, you tripping. So she was just like, there's cameras everywhere. My husband's son-in-law is a police officer and the father is the chief of police. Everybody's gonna be looking for it. So like, we can't do it. So they talk about it a little bit for a little bit more, and then they go to leave and they walk out of Uptown because they're at the Uptown. They walk out of Uptown and they're on the side of the building, and Hayley got her back turned, and Lynette tapped her, and when Hayley turns around, Lynette punches the out of her. I was just like, oh my gosh, that sounded like it hurt. And she was just like, you little bitch, what? And she was just like, yeah, that's gonna leave a mark. I said, what? Girl. But that was the end of the episode. That was a good episode. I was just like, these people are crazy. But yes, make sure you guys get down in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications. And I will see you guys in the next one.